All right, welcome back everybody. I'm Elizalde, and today I'm doing my real estate unlock for Mendez team. So Jennifer and Caitlin, how are you guys doing?
Wonderful.
All right, so what we're going to talk about today is we have a lot of people getting ready for the spring and listing their homes. And so I wanted to bring to light what are some of the things, the do's and don'ts when listing your home. If you maybe have a project, if you're thinking about doing a home improvement. So let's talk about some of the things that we see that people do right and people do wrong. So in your opinion, ladies, what are some of the things that you should do? Well, let's go ahead and start with the things you should do when you're considering listing your home for sale. What are some simple things that they can do that maybe doesn't cost a lot of money?
So my thought on that is let's work with what we have. We don't want to spend a lot of money. And the changes that you do make, you want to be competitive with the houses in that area. There's no use in, let's say, putting in the quartz countertops when everyone else has laminate in that area. That's just an example. So let's use and work with what we have. And that starts off with the free stuff. Elbow grease. Let's clean the house. Declutter. When I do my walkthroughs, I'm going to start from here. Please don't take it personal, but here's what we need to do. Because we need to get your home with what we have as close as we can to a model home.
Yeah, I always tell them, look, it's like living in a museum for a while, but decluttering is free. It's the easiest and best thing you can do, especially if you're on a budget. One thing we talk about is simplify. If you ever walked into a bedroom and it has big furniture or a lot of stuff piled up, it makes that room feel smaller. So one of the tricks I like to tell people is use the garage. Most buyers, when they go look at the garage, they open the door, pop their head in, and pop their head out, right? So a trick is let's store everything in the garage that we don't have a space for, and let's declutter these rooms.
I think, again, I'm going to base it on what I do see and what I tell my clients. Neutralize. We need a clean palette, a clean canvas. Why? Because a lot of times the family pictures, let's say religious items, you want a clean slate per se. Why? We want them to imagine themselves living there. If I walk in a house and say, oh, this is my living room. Who's that person on the picture? No, we don't want that. We want clean slate, neutral. We want to imagine ourselves living in that home.
And I say, look, again, I ran into that with certain things. I said, if you want to leave it, absolutely. I'm not going to tell you have to, but I'm going to tell you what the data shows. The data shows that by removing the personal items, it is more attractive to buyers, right? Now, other things I see, and I'm very picky, lights. I tell them I want to see all the same colors. I want to see white lights, white bulbs, because that whiteness just makes everything brighter, right? It makes it feel like natural light. We want to make sure that all the blinds open, they work. We want to bring in all that natural light. So I think there's things like that. So we talked about some small things that we can do. Let's talk about things you should not do. You should not maybe invest in because it's not the best ROI or return on your investment. What are things you've seen?
Personalizing the home. Let's say your accent walls. Again, going back to that neutral palette, that clean slate. Yes, by all means, if the wall has nicks or, I don't know, it has a hole in it, yes, we want you to fix that. But to say, oh, I think that this wall, if we painted red, it's a really nice accent wall. No, don't do that. You don't have to go waste money on stuff like that. Or let's say countertops. That's trending. We want quartz countertops. If you already have countertops, basically, if it's not broke, don't fix it if it's functional.
I had a client who upgraded to a very high-end AC and did top-of-the-line roof shingles. And they go, oh, but you got to tell them I've got the most expensive 30-year. And I said, listen, that is not a good return because a typical average buyer does not care, even though it's good. And I'm telling you, it is good that he did that. That it's not going to be a good return on your investment because a buyer is not going to pay for that extra cost you went through with. Solar panels. Now, I know we've had this discussion before. I know I've talked about this, and my buddy who lives in New Jersey who sells solar panels always beats me up every time I post this. But the truth of the matter is, at this point, solar panels are not a good return on your investment. in the fact that you might use them because you're saving money in electricity, but if you spend $40,000 on solar panels and 3 years after installing them, you decide you need to sell the home, I now have to pay off that $36,000 loan, and a seller is not going to give you $36,000 more because you have solar panels. You get $0. Now, the other thing, and this one I might get punched because I'm sitting next to a pool builder, but pools are not a good investment. Now, you do it because you want to do it. You do it because you enjoy pools. But the average pool costs about $100,000, and the return is about $20,000. So you do it because you want it. You don't do it because it's going to upgrade the value of the home.
But let's say the HVAC is broke. Then yes, that's a big ticket item that you do want to fix.
She said broke. Now, if it needs to be serviced,
That's
if it's
different,
older,
yeah.
I wouldn't replace it just to be proactive. That's not smart unless it's broken. Now, going back to what I would put money into, I always tell you, put money into your kitchen and put money into your bathroom, right? Those are the two areas, your primary bedroom. This is where they're going to want to put their time and want to see things. So upgrading, getting rid of that jacuzzi tub and putting in a nice walk-in shower. Now, one of the things I'm going to talk about is new homes. A lot of buyers are buying new homes. So we have somebody who's been specializing in new homes, Caitlin. Caitlin, I know you're new, and I know you like to talk a lot, as we can see. So what are some of the trends you're seeing new homes have versus resales?
I see a lot of new homes have like accent hardware, and that sticks out to a lot of our clients that walk through like, oh, I love that, like the gold or the black with the white. I'd say that, and like nice doors with like newer handles.
Right. And 8-foot doors. I see 8-foot doors. Definitely the higher quartz. I also see the pendant lightings. That's something I'm noticing. Is they're not just doing the cheap one with the glass. It seems like they're doing a nice chandelier and maybe even colors that I wouldn't have gone for. You know, do like that. Yeah.
Yeah, there has been some black backsplashes, like the green and the blue.
The trendy. They do all the trendy stuff. And that's something that
catches their eye.
Yeah, that's something I wanted to mention to sellers. It's good to get inspiration from those model homes, but again, it goes back to where you have your home. Don't try to mirror that 100% and put all that money into it if you're not going to get a return on your investment.
I think it starts, if you're going to do the kitchen, it starts with your countertops. I will say modernize the countertops. That's probably the easiest. And then you can save the kitchen cabinets and repaint them, right? Because that is a big ticket item, doing kitchen cabinets. And most of the time, it's not really, you're not going to get your money back on it. Again, you do it because you want to do it. But I would go with countertops, updated faucets, more modern faucets. I think like a lot of these in early 2000 homes, like KB, the fluorescent lights, get rid of that and putting pendants, putting lighting, LED lighting. Again, it is a little bit of investment, but I will tell you, I think it's even. In other words, it might not make $5,000 by doing it, but it's going to be nicer and you're going to get your money back by doing it. Yeah.
Very budget conscious purchase hardware. You can go on Amazon and buy bulk, put that hardware on, and it will update your cabinets after paint them. Well, if it needs paint, but that hardware makes a difference.
Yeah, so you were saying, like you walk in and you see like all model homes have handles.
Yes.
They have gold, they've gone black. Notice like handles, like rid of those old or the balls, right? Or sometimes I go and they have like colors, right? There's like silver and one's gold and one's black, and it's those little details. If you're trying to attract a buyer and get top dollar, it's those little details, like I said, lights, paint touch-ups, and flooring, and smells and things like that.
That takes me to the next thing that I was going to mention: deep clean, elbow grease. That's free. When we walk into a home, sense the smells, like people, again, they want to imagine themselves living there. And let's take it a step back. Curb appeal.
Yeah.
There's been times where we'll drive up to a house and see the yard and we keep driving. We will not stop if that's what it looks like on the outside. Can you imagine the inside? And some of my clients say, no, it's fine. Let's just skip it and move on. And it doesn't take a lot. Mulch, cutting the grass, planting maybe a few little plants. It goes back to decluttering, cleaning.
And not overcrowded plants.
Yeah.
Just a little.
Yeah, just
Simplicity.
enough. One of the things too that I talk about is also like, right? So sometimes I have an investor, he buys a lot of homes, and it seems like we always buy these homes where the trees are overgrown, and so you can't see the house.
Yeah.
The first thing I say is I want them trimmed to where I can walk underneath the tree without one branch hitting my head. So trimming them, and that way when people can see the house from the street. Mulch. Right before we're going to take the professional pictures, I want to see fresh mulch, some plants. This is nice. I know a trick that we use during this time is winter rye, where basically you just go down there, throw a bunch of seeds, water it every day for 2 weeks, and in 2 weeks you're going to have green grass. Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about what you've seen in some of the landscaping?
I've seen some landscaping in the model homes or new homes. They have and they put little, what's it called? The fire pit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That also gives someone the imagination, to be out here with my family. Even if it's a little area with green grass, if those who have pets or dogs are like, oh, that's perfect for my dog. It's not too much, but it's something that you can do to make the backyard more appealing and allow someone to envision their future at that home.
I've noticed where builders have extended that entertainment space.
Right.
Yeah.
Taking
The
it
cover.
outside. Right?
As a matter of fact, I've seen an increase in my buyers wanting that. They've asked for it. They're like, okay, like the open concept, you have large families, but I want to be able to take it outside. So those 3-panel sliding doors or to where it comes and you don't have two separate
we're
areas.
in Texas. We barbecue. If you're Hispanic, you've got an asada, right? And you have tons of people over.
And we love tea.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it takes the outside, the inside out, outside in, and it kind of extends that space. So I think, again, you got to be careful. You don't want to go crazy on decks and patios and be like, Jaime said you have to have a deck or an outdoor kitchen. Again, there's certain things you do because you want them and you want to enjoy your house. And there's other things you do that's going to bring value to the home. And then again, that's the whole point of this video. Preparing your home, what are the things that you want to do and what are the things you want to avoid doing when listing your home. The first thing you want to do is you want to call us, right? You want to call us way before you think you're ready to list so we can walk it and go through it. I do a video every time I do a listing and I'm talking on the video and I tell them, I'm going to give you 20 things. You might be able to do them all. You might be able to do none of them. But if I'm telling you to do these things, it's because I want to increase your value and your marketability of your home. Mm-hmm.
January, I did a TikTok. It's your advantage month. Now is the time to start planning because we're creeping up on the busiest time of the year for buyers and sellers. It's just the busiest time of the year in general. So take advantage of this time to get your house to where it needs to be to sell.
Yeah, you're not on your own. Again, that's what you have your realtor for. To go in there and to say, do this or don't do this, or you know what, this is a judgment call. But now, because you want to take advantage of March and April and May, again, maximize your value.
The first thing we don't want if you're going to sell, don't try to hide things. Yeah. If you have a hole in the wall, don't put a chair or the sofa there thinking that no one's going to see it because the truth will come out. Yeah. We don't want that. Repair what needs to be repaired.
Mm-hmm. They're going to inspect the home. So they're going to find large items. They're going to find tape on something, right? Yeah. I think a point was made that you want to do things that are not going to detract from the home. You want people to fall in love. You want people to see themselves in the home.
Yes.
And that's why we stage homes. That's why we do professional pictures. That's why we walk through them. And I nitpick on the paint. Did you get a professional to do it or did you do it yourself? And then sometimes when they do it themselves at the top, they don't do the cut-ins correctly or you have bleed-throughs. Is it going to make or break? No, but if I noticed it, the buyer's going to notice it because this is their largest purchase.
Yes.
So buyer's going to be even more particular. And sellers, you have this emotional tie to that. Well, I think my house is to be. Look, the buyer's seen 20 homes that look just like yours. So in this market, with more inventory, less buyer to pull from, your house has to stand out. Yes. And there's only 2 ways your house can stand out. It has to be desirability or affordability. Yeah. I think that really appreciate your input. Thank you for being on our video. And I think, again, if you want to know the do's and don'ts before listing your home, the best thing you can do is give us a call and speak to your realtor ahead of time. All right. Till next time, just remember, if you like this, every Tuesday, Real Estate Unlocked will have another guest.